that particular warm-up, again, our objective was to off-balance our opponent. The act of off-balancing someone is referred to as kuzushi. In both Judo and Jiu Jitsu, you will hear this term used. Most oftenly in Jiu Jitsu, we're going to hear it used in the context of off-balancing our opponent prior to a sweep, because a sweep is synonymous with a takedown. I am taking my opponent, putting them into a downed position, and coming up to a top position. That is inherently the exact same thing as a takedown. However, we're going to be working on our Osoto-Gari this evening. Now, the Osoto-Gari is a deceivingly complex takedown. It looks really easy. It looks kind of like simple to wrap your head around, but there's a lot of little nuances that go into it. So, can I have you back up just a little bit for me, brother? Perfect. Cool. I thought someone said it was in there. You're good. You're good. All right. So, I'm going to demonstrate the Osoto-Gari first here, guys, and then we're going to break it down. So, I'll go slow first. Here we go. So, this is the Osoto-Gari. Now, the Osoto-Gari itself is not a very big throw, but it is still considered a throw. Because what I'm trying to do in this Osoto-Gari is I'm trying to remove one of my opponent's legs from the mat, and I'm trying to drive them backwards to take them down. So if we reverse the position here, we're going to start off again with the Judo grips here. So my right hand's going to be on the collar, my left hand's going to be on the back of the elbow. Once I have my Judo grips, I need to start by closing the distance between me and my opponent. Right now, we're about an arm's length away from each other, which means that I'm just too far away to necessarily take him down with any throws, right? So I can't quite get my legs intertwined with his legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our back foot, and we're just going to take a short step forward. My foot is going to aim to step right in line with his front foot here. Now notice, I'm not stepping straight in at him. This is going to make it so our feet are a little too close. I'm stepping ever so slightly out to a 45-degree angle. So if we turn here, my left foot is going to step out to a 45-degree angle. Notice how there's about 1.5 feet worth of space in between us. I don't want to be too far, and I don't want to be too close. If I'm too close, I won't have space to bring my other knee through. And if I'm too far, my point of balance is now too wide. As I pull this other leg up, I'm going to lose my own balance. So I want to find that happy medium, that Goldilocks zone. So again, I step out here. Once I've stepped out, I'm now going to start to perform my kuzushi. In the case of the Osoto-Gari, we're doing two movements. We're doing a push and a pull. The pull is going to see us pulling our opponent towards us with our grips. And then you drop your mic into your gi. All right, so again, I'm pulling my opponent into me. My left arm is leading the direction of where he's going to fall. My right hand is going to start to lean my opponent backwards. So it's almost like I'm going to force him to do the limbo. I'm going to have him do a little back arch here. So again, I step, I pull, and I push. Now, once I have this kuzushi, his balance is going into the back corner here. I'm going to take my right foot, and I'm going to swing it forward, and I'm going to contact calf to calf right behind his leg here. As I do this, my objective is to take this leg out from underneath him. I'm not simply placing it and then tripping him. We're going to talk about why that's actually far more dangerous in a moment. So I'm, again, keeping my foot up. I'm going to swing it and make contact. As I do this, my hands will guide him to the floor. Now, as soon as he lands, I want to finish in a dominant position. So we're going to look to assume the knee on belly position here. So just like we worked on a couple weeks ago, my right knee is going to be pinning his hips to the floor. My left hand is staying on the elbow here, and my left foot is making a good kickstand. I want you guys to try to focus on controlling the position. You with me, coach? I want you guys to try to focus on controlling the position after the fall. So don't fall with them. If I take him down and I fall on top of him, yes, you might score your takedown, but you're also creating an uncontrolled environment. I need to control all the factors that occur in a match, so that way I can maintain the advantage on my side. So let's look again here, guys. Starting with Judo grips. Again, a little bit more upright, just a slight athletic bend in your knees. I'm going to start by taking a slight 45-degree step as I pull this elbow past me and I push him backwards. Here. Look how I'm turning my wrist. It's like I'm looking at my wristwatch. This is a simple way to create that off balance. Here. Now that I have my kuzushi, notice I'm on my tippy toes. I'm nice and light. I swing forward and back. Immediately, I come down into my knee on belly position. Now, before we start practicing this, guys, I want to talk about a very important safety thing. And that is the Osoto-Gari throws in general are inherently more dangerous than wrestling-based takedowns. The reason for that is because there's going to be a lot more sudden body weight falling because I'm taking one of his legs completely out from underneath him. So the danger with the Osoto-Gari comes with the knees. Notice if I start to simply trip him by putting my foot here, the most dangerous thing that we see with the Osoto-Gari in classes and in competition especially is when somebody gets into this position and instead of off-balancing their opponent straight backwards, they instead twist their opponent over their own knee. You guys can hopefully see what's the dangerous thing I'm doing? Internal rotation of the knee. Internal rotation refers to our knee turning in. This is very dangerous. We never want our knees to internally rotate against our will. External rotation is generally fine. It's much safer because I have a wider range of motion out externally than I do internally. So the danger again comes where we block their ability to move that leg and we rotate their weight above their own knee. This could very easily blow the knee out. So, not to scare you guys, because we're learning it the right way, okay? My objective is not to block his leg. My objective is to take his leg off the floor. So if I perform this the proper way, I take the danger away. His foot's not even in contact with the mat. His knee is completely safe. So now when I perform the actual takedown, there's no risk of injury. Let's look one more time slowly without talking from this angle. And I'll show once more from the rear so you guys can see my footwork. Again, control the descent. Be a friend, help your partner up afterwards. That way, we're all staying safe. Does anybody have any questions on our basic Osoto-Gari? We're gonna talk about the follow-up after we're done. Let's try this one nice and slow first, okay? Person who's falling, please make sure that you're keeping your chin tucked. We wanna make sure that we're falling safely, so don't fight the takedown. Go with it, allow your opponent to finish, and we'll land in that knee on belly. Not sudden weight, take them down, and then gently assume the position. Let's go back to the first person that you were working with for that game, and then we'll get to work. Let's go, 1, 2. All right, guys, does anybody have any questions on the Osoto-Gari that we've looked at so far? We're looking at a very basic sort of cooperative variation of this. We're gonna talk about a more competitive style variation in a moment. I just wanna take a quick tangent to talk about the follow-up that we have waiting for us once we finish the Osoto-Gari here. Now, everything was looking good in the beginning, guys. I like the setup, all right? So we're assuming our grips here. I'm again closing the distance with my left foot. As I get my left foot about a foot's distance between him and me, my other leg can start to come through as I perform my kuzushi. Now, one thing that I noticed, guys, is that we were neglecting this right hand. I really want to rotate into my opponent to get them leaning backwards. Once I have them leaning backwards, I have his weight going in a certain direction. My objective here is to now access a lever to remove his leg from underneath him. So I'm going to take his leg out from underneath him here. And now I've shifted his center of gravity by pushing with my arms. If you notice, once we finish the Osoto-Gari here, we end up in a very good position to attack the armbar. So again, I have my judo grips. I go for my takedown. From this position, I have my knee on belly. If you notice, I already have an extended lever on my opponent. I already have an open elbow. And if you remember what we talked about 2 weeks ago, the cheesy little saying that we like to say, Colby knows it, open elbows are broken elbows. Anytime I can create an open elbow, I can attack an armbar. So last time we were in class, 2 weeks ago I should say, last time we were here, we were talking about that near side armbar from the knee on belly. Let's attack that exact same armbar now. So once I've finished the takedown, I'm gonna maintain the extension of this elbow with that sleeve grip that we created here. I slide my knee up, catch the arm, and fall back. So we're performing the exact same armbar that we worked on 2 weeks ago, starting off with the Osoto-Gari though. So let's rotate here. So again, same grip setup. When we're attacking the Osoto-Gari, it's unlikely that our opponent's gonna be just completely static and standing in the same spot. So I want you guys to understand, we're gonna talk about a more competitive variation when our opponent might not have this leg in front. For right now, for simplicity of drilling, let's start in the same position, right leg's matching. So I step out, perform my kuzushi. Look how I'm creating extension and rotation with my grips. I kick forward, and I take him down. As soon as I finish this takedown, we need to act right away. So just like we worked on last class, I drive my weight into his shoulder, slide my knee up into his armpit, catch the wrist, and step over the head. Don't fall back. Come to the seated position first, and now we create extension, a pinch, and I can fall back to finish the armbar. If you really need to, guys, we can start to pull that other leg out, but from this position, it's nice and quick. We can just keep the foot tucked in. Let's look at the entire thing once more. I'll show it from this perspective. Nice and slow first. And I'll show once more, a little bit more at speed. We'll go one more time, right from here. Alrighty, guys. Any questions? So same Osoto-Gari, but now we're going to cap it off with that near side armbar from the knee on belly. Any questions? Let's go. 1, 2. So I just want to go through a couple of things, some troubleshooting that I was noticing here real quick. On the whole, guys, we're looking good. With this particular takedown, our focus is not on brute forcing any of the movement. Okay, this is a very common mistake that a lot of people run into with any technique, but very specifically here with this style of throw, I'm not trying to outpower my opponent. You may notice, the keen among you may have noticed that when we're in this position, we're essentially in a mirrored position. We have the exact same thing, right? It's like 50-50. If my only focus is on being stronger than my opponent, we'll run into a lot of false positives. You'll take down people who are simply weaker than you. That's not what our goal should be, though. Our goal should be the ability to take down someone not because I'm stronger, but because I have better technique. So what I really want to focus on here is the kuzushi and trying to off-balance my opponent first. Get them leaning in a certain direction, get their weight driving somewhere. So now I'm taking the weight off of that leg. It becomes very easy to start to elevate it. Now, what we'll start to see when we add in a more of a live competitive aspect to any takedown is that our opponent's not going to simply keep a leg exposed. Okay? Oftentimes, they'll keep that leg back behind them, which means that I may have to induce him to step forward by pulling, or if he refuses to step that leg up, I may have to create more of like a jumping motion to get into my Osoto-Gari. We need to understand that our opponent is not going to necessarily feed us the takedown. We have to go and get it, okay? So we're going to do one more round of drilling. If you guys would like to continue to add in the armbar, feel free. But now what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to have your opponent start with the other foot in front. So coach is going to switch his legs on me here. Okay, so now we're in a mirrored position, whereas before we were in a matching position with our legs, now we're in a mirrored position. So I'm going to give you guys two simple options here. My first option is to pull my opponent towards me. As I pull him towards me, my goal is to bring that right foot closer to me. So I'm going to pull, and then I can step up. My second option, if I'm not able to pull him closer to me, is essentially I'm going to create more of a jump. I'm going to jump into my opponent. Nice big step with that left foot. Again, as I make contact, I'm immediately performing my kuzushi here. I'm pulling with the sleeve grip. I'm redirecting with that collar grip, and then I come in. I again want to reiterate the importance of not twisting your opponent over a planted leg. This is very dangerous. This is one of the big reasons that we do not teach judo to a lot of beginners. It's inherently more of a dangerous style of takedown than wrestling. So that's why we're working on a simpler and safer variation right now with the Osoto-Gari. Okay? We're again accessing a lever and then shifting their center of gravity by turning their spine back. Okay, guys? So again, if he has the switch stance on me, I can either pull and then move into my position or create more of a jump as I step in for the takedown. Whichever option you want to work, use control, focus on good kuzushi, and then if you'd like to finish with the armbar, go for it. Okay, guys, we're going to do one more round of drilling, and then we'll get right into some live training. Any questions? Don?
You talked about strength for, overpowering your opponent.
Yeah.
Frames or body types also play a role in that too?
Absolutely, that's why weight classes exist, right? There's no, if two people have the exact same level of technique, the bigger person's going to win. There's no way around that, right? So we always want to try our best to remove natural attributes from the equation, and technique is the great equalizer in that sense. But when it comes down to it, that's why weight classes are a thing. So unfortunately, there are diminishing returns, right? I'm not going to do an Osoto-Gari to someone who's 300 pounds. It's not going to happen, right? No matter how good your technique is, that's just too much weight for me to try to move, so we'll have to do other things. But you're absolutely right, Don. There's going to be different body types that are more suited to different styles of takedowns and different levels of strength that can assist with takedowns as well. Does that make sense? Great, guys. right, let's do one more round and we'll get to it. Let's go. 1, 2.